Morning folks, welcome to my van. Wasn't sure about filming this video, but as you can see I already started work and decided to actually do a little mini series or whatever. So the reason that there's no footage of prior at the van for 2 weeks, I mean probably had van for about 3 days in those 2 weeks. Ended up with engine failure problems and stuff like that, which you'll find either in the same video or you'll find it in a separate video, which I've not decided how to play it out yet, and I'm not sure if the problems are already finished, so we'll see later on with that one. At the moment, as you can see, the van's fully stripped out ish. The rear door quarters still are on, but those are coming off eventually. Floor's up, stored it at work for a moment, purely because I live in a flat, so that's going to be another interesting part to this conversion, doing the van in the parking lot of a flat complex with very minimal tools. Got a couple of DeWalt thingies, a couple of hammers, screwdrivers, pliers, and that's pretty much it. So that's where we're starting. We'll see what we'll need throughout this build, and we'll see where we get on. Today's mission is to get rid of the floor rust, and I'll point out a couple of other bits that I've found on YouTube how to solve. Obviously I already spotted them on before looking for solution, and apparently it's a quite big issue, so let's get rolling, boys and girls. So the wheel arch problem is where people start building, well, mainly I'm not sure if it's manufacturer who actually gets them out with wood or anything like that, but the wooden box that goes around the wheel arch, inner wheel arch, is on a load vans, it gets damaged pretty much weekly, so they last you about 3 to 6 months maximum, and everyone else who goes and builds another one around it drills into the metal of the van. For whatever reason, they think that the greatest is to actually drill on the top, or if we look there, already sanded a couple of bits down onto the side of the wheel arch, and all the water and all the mud gets thrown on those bolts, which if you use low quality bolts, they rust very quickly, and that rust transfers to your frame. At least that's how I understand how it works. Maybe the frame rusts away first and then the bolts, not sure. As you can see, there's quite a fair bit, so let's get on with that. So what we got today, plain and simple drill. I think I grabbed the set of this and an impact for about £99, so nothing fancy, nothing expensive, well, too expensive. Had to be cordless for me. Tool station is the best place to get these bits, well, cheapest place, because alongside everything else, with this van I'm actually running the math because it's big and I want to know exactly to the cent what I spent to it, but get little attachments like this. Yeah, actually 3 of them, 3 different ones. Cap brush, little round wheel that I just demonstrated, and a smaller version of softer cap brush kind of thing. So we'll start addressing over the bigger cap brush to see how well it actually does. If it doesn't, first address will be with basic sandpaper, P80, get the heavy bits out, then use the little attachments to get all the little bits out, and hopefully that works out. If you ever do that, never forget these. I've learned it the hard way doing my little Vivaro years ago. These do fly out, and I've had some horror stories of what they can actually do, so always protect your eyes, people. Not saying that's the best place to advise everyone, but trust me, I have burned my eye while being under a bed of the old van dremeling off the ends of the screws that went out a little bit too far. Just wearing a pair of these. If you're dremeling and you're laying on the floor, make sure you wear proper goggles. Stuff can still fall down on your face and go under the glasses, and it's even harder to get it out. But for this demonstration, they'll be perfectly fine. Actually works pretty well and gets the heavier stuff. Maybe for the angle we'll try the wheel, but this is perfect so far. And that's the reason we sit with closed doors and a bloody light on. Lovely weather. Basically this goes and comes quite, I'd say every 5 minutes or so. Lovely day. Actually it looked very lovely in the morning and promising, but oh well. Right, let's have a look at this. So, I was thinking that those original bungs would hold up all the rust away. As we can see, rust is literally under them because they have deteriorated. So we're going to be pulling both of them out, and while brushing all the way around, hammerizing everything out basically. And what I was planning to do with that little hole, I'll do with the bigger ones as well, which is getting some sealant and just sealing it all over. Obviously that's probably not today's mission, but so after pulling the sealant, that's the mess we actually can see under the original seal. Obviously, as you can see, that's where the weld comes for this panel, the floor of the van. And I'm hoping that's just the surface rust, but reality is probably it's coming from under the wheel arches, so at some stage I will have to address it from the outside, most likely in a place. And when I said about water ingress points, all around the van, all of the little bungs, well, I'm saying bungs, plastic clips, things, whatever. As you can see, it's been raining today and that's leaking. The van was driving yesterday and it was absolutely dry in the evening, so I can tell it's leaking even from being parked up. And as you can see, just watery messes coming in, so definitely we'll be addressing that from the outside at some stage as well, before we put insulation obviously. That's what we're going to be using today. Ignore the colour, it had 50% discount, so it's going to be hidden on the floor anyway. So matted clay colour will be perfectly fine. Not that we care, because we're not going to be able to see it anyway. But yeah, that's the next step. Obviously not done the whole van. Still gonna have to work in sections, which I was opposed to. That's why I got rid of the floor, but with this weather, can't even get the side panels out, and I have a couple of intentions on how I'm gonna plan to reuse them. So for now, we're done. Let's say this 3/4 here. Now, well, I'm showing this on camera, but roughly middle line to the saddle, all of that has been wire brushed, has been sanded prior, so wire brushing was just literally cleaning whatever rust it got up to in a week's time while it was sitting in the garage, getting a couple other bits done. Look out for that video. But yeah, let's crack on with that. According to Hammerite, you can apply it straight to a rusted surface, so we've wire brushed it as best as we can. Hopefully it actually does the job like it says on the tin. Obviously applying quite a hefty section just for any paint I might have damaged with the sandpaper or the wire brush around. But we're going to leave this to dry for a couple of hours, because we'll do this 1/4, leave it for a couple of hours. Need to go to shop, get a couple of bits. Got guests coming over on the weekend, so we will see how that goes. So should be back in here later this evening, hopefully, doing the other side. Basically the other 1/4, getting it all nicely done. And yeah, trying not to get too much paint into these, because these are your original tie down points for, well, fixing holes for your original tie down points, and I plan on reusing them. I'll go into more detail once I'm actually doing it, but the idea behind it is, as you've seen, you drill a hole in your wheel arch, it ends up rusting. So same will happen if you drill holes in the bottom of the van. And everyone keeps using these self-drilling, self-tapping screws, whatever, roofing screws, whereas I'm going to take a bit of a different approach, get this done, measure out the timber bits I want, and I'm only going to use the timber bits on the parts running across where I have at least 2 tie down points. So I'm going to reuse these tie down points to fix down braces going across the flooring and insulate it fully, and then obviously when the plywood comes down in the van, you'll go into those braces for support. Again, not that much needed, but we've seen a lot of people doing floating floors, so you can do it, and you know, there's no failure in doing it one way or the other way. But these tie down points will give me, well, these braces will give me tie down points for when I actually plan on fixing any cabinetry, and I can use those braces instead of drilling down in the van. And most of it will be drilled into the plywood on the top as well, shorter screws, so I don't touch the actual flooring, so everything I've done now doesn't go to waste. But again, everyone's approach is different, and for myself personally, I'm not saying anyone else is doing it wrong. I'm not professional by any means, just using the logic behind of what you see has happened to the van. How many years? 2014 van, 8 years. So, you know, if that happened in 8 years with no holes drilled, well, no holes drilled in here, and these had rust just from condensation or spilled liquids, so I definitely do not want to make any ingresses for water that I don't have to. But yeah, that's the logic behind it, people. Let's do the wheel arch. Again, by doing just 1/4, I actually want to have a look how well this Hammerite stuff works in weather conditions, because this corner is a little bit wet, and I won't mind to actually wire brush it again and know how well this does in a couple of hours. So if you see me wire brushing the same corner I already painted, that's pretty much why it's going to be that. But at the moment, let's just give it a shot. Probably should have just researched it, but again, if that's the case, I'll bring out a fan, well, basically a blow heater, whatever, and dry out this corner as best as I can before next attempt. So I'll let you know. How does this stick down to? I mean, it's not as wet as you would think. It's just obviously damp, and no paint should be put on the damp surface, but feeling risky today, so let's go with that. As you can see, I've got Hammerite on promotion, so I'm just applying it. Whatever, there's no pretty way for this. Obviously, color differs, but as I mentioned, it's going to be covered up, and it will not matter at all. Yeah, brush this side, need to go get it clean so I can reuse it later. So, it says 8-year protection, no need to prime or undercoat, quick drying. We'll test the quick drying function, because at the moment we got probably about 12 to 15 Celsius outside. It says well, ventilated room, yeah, my bad. I've got the front 2 windows just lowered a tiny little bit, so we don't die heat from condensation. but 5 square meters per litre, so I've got 750 mil. So potentially, with a very light coat I could cover most of the flooring, which I'm not going to do. We're going to do, well, we've done the quarter now. As I said, going to shop, getting some stuff, getting some drinks for the weekend. We'll see how it settles. Come back in, let's say I'll have lunch and I'll go to shop, so hour and a half to 2 hours. Then one can reassess, because ideal application temperature according to this is between 8 and 25 degrees. Do not thin. As you can see, I'm not the one to actually read the labels very much. So, touch and dry, 1 to 2 hours. If we give it an hour and a half, we'll have a look. It says recoated 4 hours. At this stage I'm not recoating until the whole van is done. Then once everything is done, I'll run a quick recoat on top. Probably a couple of days time, hopefully, because I've got 5 days of work now, but see how the weekend plans out and how much I can actually get done. And until then. So, went to shop, had lunch, done all the bits needed. Probably took a better of hour 45 minutes, but we got a slight problem. I applied Hammerite a little bit too thick of a coat, so at the moment it's still not dry, nowhere near dry. So I'm going to try to figure out how to place those panels to the side so I can do the rest of the van today. Because ideally I want it done today, because tomorrow I want it to be all dry and trace my next steps. So not going to be much talking for this part of the video, just going to place you guys in the corner and try to crack on. It's pretty much about really it. Basically, after assessing the situation a little bit better, the paint's nowhere near ready and I don't want to damage any of it, so I spent a fair time of doing it up. So I'm going to leave the other side of the rear quarter, do the front and leave it dry out for the day, well, throughout the night. Lay the wood flat tomorrow because I need to drive the van in the morning, and then in the afternoon do the last part, which will be the quarter, and then move anything I've planned for tomorrow to basically Sunday and work it out that way. And by the way, got myself a mask this time.